Hey, I know you've heard of the 5 stages of grief. And when you go through a divorce, which is a type of loss, you can experience those 5 stages of grief as you go through a divorce or a separation. In this video, I will discuss the 5 stages of grief that you can also experience when you have a breakup or go through the ending of a relationship, and how these show up when you do go through a divorce. My name is Tabitha. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and here I provide you tools on how to develop healthy relationships and how to deal with them when they do not work and you go through a divorce, a breakup, or separation, so that you can go from surviving to thriving into who it is that you want to become post relationship. So let's jump right in. So divorce is extremely difficult. Divorce, breakup, separation, whatever you want to call it, is extremely difficult to go through. And when we receive the news that the relationship is ending, or when we do decide that we're going to end the relationship, we can find ourselves beginning to experience the 5 stages of grief. And what are those 5 stages? So it's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. When you reach acceptance, it is at the point where you have accepted what has happened and you can pretty much you feel okay to move forward. But let's go through them one by one. Let's start with denial. So when you find out that you are getting a divorce, some of us may experience something called denial, where we begin to say, no, this is not happening. This is not going to happen. I must have been dreaming. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, you hoping that your real life was a dream. And this has happened to me, that I'm hoping that, oh, I hope I was in a dream. And what just happened to me was pretty much just, I was just dreaming it and it's not reality. But then quickly it sets in, oh no, like that's actually what's happening. I am getting a divorce, and this is hard, and you find it hits you all over again once you realize that this is reality and this is pretty much your life that you have to deal with. So denial looks like this is not happening. It looks like people would tell you that this is what you're going through, and some people, this period is extended where they would deny it to people. People would remind them, hey, this is what you're going through right now. But they engage in so much behavior that kind of like just keep their mind off of it, that their brain actually believe that this loss is actually not happening, and that they will pretty much go back home and find their spouse, or they will find out that it was a joke. They will find out that the relationship will not end. But eventually, the denial phase ends and you may enter into anger. And let me say this real quick, like, it doesn't mean that all of these stages are going to happen one by one, but I'm going in that order. But you may bounce from one to the other, and that's absolutely okay. So when you get to anger, is when you finally realize, hey, this is real, this is happening. And then you get into, how could they do this to me? How could this be happening to me? Why is it that I'm losing my marriage? Why is it that this is happening to me? And you become angry. And that anger is something that is very physical that you experience in your body. And it is important that you find ways to safely express that anger. There is a saying that says, be angry, but do not do any wrong, right? You can feel the anger, the emotion. There's nothing wrong with it. It's what you do, the reaction from the anger sometimes that gets people in trouble. So if you feel angry, some safe ways that you can explore that is that I tell my clients sometimes, just scribble on a piece of paper violently, or punch a pillow, or take a kickboxing class, or go to a rage room. Do something that allows the anger. And some more calming things could be just do some deep breathing to just allow the anger to come out. And you can breathe deeply, but also violently, right? So it would look like kind of like something like that, where you are really pushing it out and allowing the anger to come out. You can Right. You can go for exercise. Sometimes exercising just release some of the tension of your body. But find a way to safely let the anger out. Do not go scratch nobody's scars. Do not go do anything that's gonna get you in trouble. Just feel the anger and allow yourself to just let it pass through your body, reminding you that the emotions that you feel, they're not really supposed to and to last a very long time. They're supposed to be felt and flow through your body, and then you're free from them. So if you are kind of like just keeping it inside and keeping it bottled up, it's going to be harder for it to be released. So as soon as you feel the anger come in, find a way to release it. Be okay with being angry. There's nothing wrong with being angry. And I know sometimes in our families they tell us like anger is not allowed. We're not allowed to be angry. We can't do this. I'm giving you permission right now. You can be angry as long as you don't do anything that will get you in trouble, that is bad, you don't react, and you find a safe way to express your anger, you should be fine. And then sometimes we get to the bargaining phase, right? The next phase is the bargaining. After, you feel angry, you start to bargain. You're like, maybe if I do this, they will come back. Or you like, what if I did this? Will it change the situation? And for me, like when I was going through my divorce, I used to pray a lot and be like, God, like, God, if you make this happen, I'm gonna do this. Or I bargained consistently with God and be like, God, like you gotta help me in this because I don't want this to be real and I don't want it to be reality. So when we get to that bargaining phase, is kind of like figuring out what it is that we can do, because it's so hard for our bodies to accept the pain that is happening in the moment, that we have to find a way to release it and to not think about it, or to make it to undo the action that's been done. So bargaining is absolutely normal for you to do, and it's one of the stages of grief. And what you do when you get to that phase, just calmly and slowly and with lots of grace, just remind yourself that yeah, this is happening. And it's okay if there's nothing that you can do about it. Because sometimes there's stuff you can do, sometimes there's nothing that you can do about it. And especially if it is something like divorce and the person doesn't want to be in a relationship anymore, you cannot force anybody to be with you. So the best thing that you can do is to recognize, oh, I'm in the bargaining phase of grief and it's okay for me to be here right now. And I'm just going to give myself permission to be here in this phase until it kind of like passes. Fourth stage will be depression, right? Sometimes after you've been in denial and you feel the strong anger and you bargain and none of that worked, then you get to a place where you like get really, really sad, right? If you stay in the anger phase, some of us get stuck in those other phases for longer than we should. If we stay in them, we may never get to the depression phase, because I like to say that anger is a cover up. Anger is something that hides other core emotions that you do feel. And sometimes it's not the real deep emotion that you need to be feeling in the moment so that you can move forward in your healing process. So when you get to the depression or depressive phase, it's important that you are very patient with yourself. Depression is like they describe it as a cloud, and I like to describe it as a heavy cloud, right? It's not something that's light and fluffy. It's like this dark cloud that's full of water droplets that is on top of your head, kind of like my hair, like that, on top of your head, just weighing on you very heavily. And it's important that you recognize when you get to that phase, because you will need your circle. You will need your support system. You will need your people. So it's important that you go and tell them and find them, and for them to even recognize, right, that this is what's happening with you so that they can help you. I'm not saying that you're not able to get through it by yourself. I'm saying that during that phase, it helps if you have someone who can help. uplift you and lift you up. So these are the moments when you're remembering the memories. Most of the time the brain doesn't remember the negative ones, and you're thinking about the loss, and that weight just fall on your shoulders, and you find yourself crying all the time and dealing with the pain, and you're more internally focused, because now the anger was outwards, now this is internal. This is something that you feel like your heart is kind of like just ripping apart a little bit, little by little, and you're feeling the deep pain caused by divorce, separation, or a breakup. And it's just a phase, right? It's just a season in the healing process. And if you find yourself in that phase, call your people and say, hey, I'm not feeling up to anything. They can take you out, they can come over, they can get you a meal, make sure you're eating, check on you, and do all of these things so that you don't have to go through this phase by yourself. And then eventually, as you make space for those deeper feelings, as you process them, as you allow yourself to be where you are, eventually you get to the acceptance phase. And that phase is like a breath of fresh air. It's not that you forget everything that's happened, it's that you pretty much gets to a place where you're like, okay, this is reality, this is what's happening, and I just need to accept it. And I need to let this person go. And I need to forgive this person. And I need to move forward with my life, right? This is the moment when you feel finally ready to let go. And I'm not saying that you can't have moments after acceptance when you jump back into depression, or you go into bargaining, or you go into anger again, or you can't believe that it happened, and it's another form of denial. But it becomes easier after you get to the acceptance phase, because then you can allow yourself to see a path forward and allow yourself then to take that path so that you can get towards your healing. So these were the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Let me know in the comments what phase you find yourself in, um, the day that you're commenting, because it can jump day by day. It can be different. So here's our action item for this video. So I want you to write down what stage you're in, and then 2 things that you're going to do to help yourself, right? If you're in the anger phase, I'm going to punch a pillow, I'm going to sign up for a boxing class. If you're in the denial phase, I'm going to check in with someone and pretty much just have them bring me back to reality. If you're in bargaining phase, just be gracious with yourself and allow yourself to remind yourself gently that you are in this space and it is just a phase. If you are in depression, call your support system and ask them, hey, I need help and I have this cloud over me. I'm sad about this divorce. I'm sad about this breakup and I need you. And if you're in acceptance, just celebrate it. Just celebrate the fact that you're finally at a place where you can accept what it is that's happening, because that's a sign that you're moving from survival mode into thriving, where you will then be able to discover new things about yourself and the things that you need to do to get to a life of thriving and to building the life that you want. So I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this, or more videos about relationships and breakups and healing, click the notification bell so that you can get notified the next time that I post a new video. Have a